All right, thank you, media, for joining our post-practice availability. We'll hear from head coach Derek Fisher, Candace Parker, Brittany Sykes, and Taya Cooper. And we'll get started with Adam Grossbard, LA Daily News.
Hey, Derek, just wondering if there are any updates on Sydney and TRP and whether you think they might be available on Thursday.
Yeah, no, I mean, both players are getting better. I'm definitely not speaking on behalf of Courtney or either TRP or Sydney, but, I think they're both getting better. Whether Thursday's realistic or not, I'm not sure. To be honest, they're doing more stuff, working out a little bit, pool, bike. Sydney was able to touch the basketball a little bit yesterday, but as far as, Thursday, I would still probably, say more on the doubtful side than the probable side, but, we'll see, over the next day or two if that changes.
John W. Davis, Winsider.
Good West Coast afternoon to you, Coach Fisher. How you feeling today?
Good, John. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. So what I wanted to ask you about was, regardless of who you play tomorrow, you got 3 possible opponents, and you'll find that out tonight. But regardless who you play, can you give me 3 reasons why the Sparks will be successful on Thursday, regardless of who you play?
Sure. I wish I had those answers in a bottle. I wouldn't be doing this. That's for sure. I think that, for us, again, it's and I think for every, team really, it's not as much about, the opponent always. You obviously have to prepare for your opponent, respect them, understand, some of the things that they would like to do and try to do. But I think for us, again, our ability to bring a level of, I think, focus and attention to detail that allows us to, really play with energy, effort, passion. I think that's always at the top of the list for us. We have a number of experienced players and players with years in this league. And, I think, finding that excitement level and just that high passion for competing every possession, that starts to escape you as you get a little older because you've seen it all. So, finding that way to be super excited about every possible moment is a key. I think for us, when we take care of the basketball, we're really good. I think we always get in trouble when we get loose with the basketball. So we have to take care of the ball on Thursday, no matter who we play. And I think we have to get back to, being able to create turnovers and get ourselves out into the open court a little bit more. I felt like that was an area, even though we finished at the top or near the top of the league, overall, I don't think in the last week or so, we played at that level in terms of really making it hard for teams on the offensive end. So those are 3 areas for me that jump out that, if we're locked in and enthusiastic about the opportunity to play basketball, we're really good. And I think these moments bring that out in our team more than other moments at times. And then, taking care of the basketball offensively, we're normally really good. And then, being able to create some turnovers on the defensive end so we can get out into the open court and take advantage of our versatility in terms of multiple people pushing the ball and being able to finish on the break.
Howard Megdal, Next Hoops.
Hey, Derek, good to chat with you.
Howard.
Wondering if you could talk more specifically about how you guys go about preparing for this single elimination right out of the box. I know you had a lot of success doing it last year against Seattle, and you guys ended up winning by quite a bit if memory serves. But also just it's almost like having to come up with a Game 7 mentality right in Game 1. Wondering how you go about making that happen, and also just what you think of it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think in my opinion, at least, I think the key to playing in any game, honestly, is to find a way to have a clear mind and to be able to be fully present and focused on just that one game, not necessarily how you got there. Whether you were in a 7-game series, or a 5-game series, it doesn't matter, who was up 2-0, down 2-1, up 3-1. It's game 7 or it's game 5. And you have to find a way to, yes, bring that elimination mentality, but you cannot become overly anxious and determined to manufacture an outcome, right? And still find a way to stay focused on the process of winning the game, which means, every closeout, every communication on the defensive end, screening at the right angles, passes on time and on target. You don't get 8 points for making a 3-pointer in an elimination game. You get 3 points. And so, you can't overly magnify the significance of the game that creates these, different feelings inside of you than what you would in any game. And that's a hard thing to do. The greatest players and the greatest teams find a way to do that. So for me, specifically in trying to prepare our team, I think it's important to respect the fact that, of course, it's a single elimination game, but in order to win the game, you have to be able to still rely on the habits that you've built up to this point and be able to do those things really, really well. You can't become an entirely new team, in 2 days for one game. And I think that's a false notion to try and do that. So specifically for us, we're really just spending time, especially, before knowing who our opponent is, really focusing and tightening up on who we are and what we're capable of doing. And then we'll add, some of the key things about our opponent after both of these games wrap up tonight.
Erica Ayala, Locked On Women's Basketball.
Thank you, Coach. Just now, you answered Howard's question by talking a little bit about culture, and that's something that you really emphasized at the beginning of the season during that short training camp. I wonder if you've thought much about how you feel about the culture of the team, about this roster, as compared to how you felt about culture last year. And if you'd indulge me, there's also reports that Breonna Taylor's family is set to receive a $12 million settlement. If you would just offer your reactions to that.
Yeah, I'll probably start there first. That's honestly the, I think most, powerful and impactful part of, why we're even here this year. I'm not sure specifically what Breonna's family sought and will continue to seek in terms of not necessarily payment or repayment, but just justice. And I don't know if justice has a price really. So in terms of Breonna's family, her legal team and the decision that they've made to reach this settlement, my hope is that it is a small positive in what is otherwise a very difficult and horrible situation. So I'm reluctant to say I'm happy for them because they shouldn't be in this situation at all. But again, I'm assuming that this is a part of a process that the family and the legal team have been going through and working through. And in some ways, it's good to know that there's been some resolution from possibly a financial perspective, but there's no price on life. And my hope is that we'll all continue to fight for the justice that Breonna Taylor's family deserves as we all move forward. From a culture standpoint, in terms of our team, in my opinion, I think we're ahead of where we were last year because we've had more time to build it. You can't build a second story in the house until you build the first one. And, I think last year we had an opportunity to begin the process of of building the type of organizational culture and team culture we like to see and exist in. And we made a lot of progress in that direction. And, I think a lot of people, whether even ourselves at times, right, we have a tendency to only focus on these moments in time that are negative without being able to appreciate how positive and how far reaching the things that you have done, are in reality. So we feel like we're in a better place from a cultural standpoint. Doesn't mean you win every game you play because you're moving in the right direction. But I think our players are understanding more of what is expected of them and being a part of this team. And we're also learning from them what it is they need from us in order to be an organization that they all take pride in working with and playing for. And that's a very important aspect of it, is that it's both ways. It's not just the culture that you see living out on the court and how we play basketball, but really wanting our players, their families, their loved ones, the people and things that are important to them. They have to feel that we're prioritizing them and those things. And I think we've done, a lot of work in that area from the business side and the basketball side to make sure our players understand, that we follow our words with action and really try to be as there for them as much as we possibly can.
Last question for Coach for today will go to Michelle Vogel, ESPN.
Yeah, Coach Fisher, you mentioned earlier the experience factor. How crucial is it to have your big three, if you will, Candace and Nneka and Chelsea in a single elimination game when you consider how many big situations those three have been in?
Yeah, no, it's immeasurable, to be in a position as a coach where, from our experience even last year, other than an elimination game in my, experience, I had not been in a single elimination, type of format. So the confidence that we had going into our single elimination second round game last season, and I think the confidence that we can continue to build over this next couple of days going into Thursday night, a lot of it starts with those three. They lead us on the court. They lead us in the locker room. And we obviously have, the who they are as women and the things that they are focused on off the court. They're also leaders in that regard. And so I think it helps all of us to have those three players on our side, having been in so many big moments together. They can really be the glue and the centerpiece to, what we can try and accomplish, starting with Thursday night. And, the fact that they've been in this situation before is also, I think, a positive for us. We still have to go out and play the game, but, having players with this kind of experience that I think will embrace the moment as opposed to being stressed out with the moment, I definitely think is a positive for us.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, questions for Taya Cooper. We'll start with Jim Alexander, LA Daily News.
Hey, Taya. Candace had a couple honors today, first team all WNBA and Defensive Player of the Year. I want to get your perspective on not only what she's done statistically, but the other things that she brings to the team, whether it's leadership, whether it's whatever.
Candace is a phenomenal player and a phenomenal person. I think that with her experience and expertise and on the court stuff, off the court stuff, we get to learn a lot from her. So when she's on the court, she's very vocal. She sets the tone, she sets the example, she talks to us. So, honestly, we're getting everything. There's nothing more that we can ask from Candace. Those awards were well deserved.
Sabrina Merchant, SB Nation.
Hey, Taya, I know I asked you this last week before the playoffs had actually started, but now that you can look ahead, to the single elimination rounds, how do you feel about the WNBA postseason? You think it's a cool setup, or do you think you should get more than one game, if you make the playoffs? How do you feel about it?
I didn't even think about that. I honestly just, it is what it is. I kind of thought of it like it's single game elimination and you got the series. So I didn't even think of if it was different. But, I mean, it's cool to me. This is my first time experiencing it. I think after this, I could probably tell you how I felt about it. But I really don't know. I'm going through it as we speak.
Logan Murdoch, the ringer.
Hey, Taya, you were talking about Candace Parker earlier. What's it like to be playing alongside her when I'm sure you grew up watching her? And what is the biggest thing that she's taught you during this first season?
She's taught me so much. I mean, at the point guard position, just the reads off screens, knowing everybody's position and what they're doing when I do have the ball. So being aware of the reads, like once I get past the screen or if they do a certain coverage. So I think that, and then just her being aware of what I'm capable of and believing in me, I think meant the most to me. But I feel like everything. She's been there for defense, offense, off the court. She's a great big sister.
Last question for Taya. We'll go to Chris Camello.
Taya, thanks for joining us this afternoon. The all WO rookie teams came out. Was there any disappointment that you weren't on it? And is that going to be a motivating factor for you moving forward?
No, I didn't even know who made the rookie team. Honestly, we just had practice, so I haven't seen them. So I haven't felt a way or felt anything about them because I haven't seen it. But no, I mean, we in the playoffs, so that's all I'm worried about. And yeah.
Right on. Thank you, Taya.
Thank you.
Brittany Sykes will be next. All right, media, questions for Brittany Sykes. We will start with Adam Grossbard, LA Daily News.
Hey, Brittany, just, I know you kind of ended the season coming back from an injury. How are you feeling just physically now that you've had a couple days of rest? And then just, it's been a couple years since you were in the playoffs. What is your excitement level to get back to that level of competition?
I had to remember what I got hurt from.
The bruise?
Yeah, my stomach. I caught on afterwards. I was like, what did I get hurt from? Those couple of days definitely help. You'd be amazed at the rhythm that you have to find when you sit out a game or two and getting back into that type of game mentality, game shape. But these past couple of days have been good just to reload and relax and get some thoughts out that we probably wasn't able to get during these games every other day. So that's really big. And then, being in the playoffs again, haven't been since, I think it was 2018 season. Yeah. So, it's cool. It's fun. And I mean, we've busted our butts to get here. So it's only right that we keep pushing through these playoffs to get to those series.
Tukni Nguyen, LA Times.
Hey, Brittany. Now that you actually have time to practice, which you didn't get before, what are some of the areas that you guys have, as a team, have identified as ways you need to clean up, especially after finishing the regular season with your first losing streak, really, of the whole year?
Yeah, we've just locked in on those defensive lapses we might have had during these last couple games, and just really cleaned up where we need to be on both ends of the floor, but especially defense. But we cleaned up some of our offense. We added some options, and we just pointed out some options that we might have missed during these past couple games.
Time for two more. We'll go to Erica Ayala, Locked On Women's Basketball.
Thank you. Sykes, I wanted to ask you a reaction, actually. There's news coming out, it's been reported by the New York Times and CNN, that the city of Louisville is set to offer a settlement of $12 million to the family of Breonna Taylor. Obviously, this season has been dedicated to her and lots of other victims of police brutality and police violence, women in particular. I'm just curious your reaction to that settlement number.
They charge the cops?
No, ma'am.
then that's my reaction. I mean, yeah, money is cool, but did they charge the cops? And they didn't, so our job isn't done.
Last question will go to John W. Davis, Winsider.
Good West Coast afternoon to you, Sasson. How you doing?
What's going on, man?
Oh, good, I'm good. Appreciate that answer that you just gave to Erica as well. But if I could talk to you about, because I'm not going to have a chance to talk to you before Thursday's game, regardless of who you play, you know, you have three options, but you'll probably find yourself guarding somebody who the league would consider elite on offense. You know, what are you thinking about going into that game, regardless of who you're going to be guarding and matched up against?
I mean, you said it. It doesn't matter who we go up against. Whoever I'm guarding, my job is to make it hell for them that entire night on the court if I'm guarding them, and to make sure that if they do score, they had to go through hell and hot water to get that bucket.
Thank you so much, Brittany.
See?
All right. All right, media, we'll go right into it. Questions for Candace Parker. We'll start with Michelle Vopel, ESPN.
Yeah, Candace, just having a few days maybe to work on things for you guys. How big is that? And just, you know, what is the mentality? You've been through a lot of big games, but since it's the one and done, what is that feeling going into Thursday?
I mean, it's been nice to be able to kind of work on us a little bit and, you know, tighten some stuff up, given that we haven't had a lot of time to practice this season. But really, it is about us. It's about controlling what we can control and doing what we do. I think a lot of times you get lost in the season and you forget, you know, mentality and energy and all that has a lot to do with the way that you play. And that's why the ball sometimes magically goes in when you're on a winning streak. It's just because of the feeling and the energy. So we got to get that back. And, you know, I love playing with the players on our team, and I think that we're ready and built for the playoffs.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Jim Alexander, LA Daily News.
Hey, Candace, congratulations on today's AP honors, by the way. Obviously, this has been a different season in all kinds of ways. What are some of the more unusual differences, whether it's playing, whether it's practicing, whether it's preparing, or what have you, that have separated this from a normal season where you're playing at home?
I think the biggest difference is like, I was walking in the lobby of the hotel yesterday and I saw a ref swimming laps in the pool. So to me, I think it's just weird to see everybody as like human beings. Like you see your competitors like eating and, you know, in the lobby chilling. You see the refs, you know, sitting in the lobby. You see them swimming. You see them working out. So to me, the weirdest thing is just to see the people that you're going to battle with in regular situations and regular life moments.
Tiffany Nguyen, LA Times.
Hey, Candace. I have another question, but just a reaction to that. Do you find yourself hanging out with your opponents more in the bubble? And also, my main question is, with what we've seen in the league this year, just with the social justice and what you've tried to push individually, I know how passionate you are with voting. How much do you value whatever off-court advancements, achievements you can help push throughout your career, outside of just your playing resume, which by itself is spectacular also?
I think it's super important, especially this generation. You know, it was in the past, it was individuals. I mean, I grew up, my father and my mother put, you know, articles about Bill Russell and Muhammad Ali, and, you know, obviously hindsight is 20/20 when you look back at what they stood for, but at the time it wasn't the popular thing. And to have entire sports leagues trying to make it better and to try to make it better for the next generation. I mean, that's inspirational for me, and to be a part of that and to be a part of this season, I think, is a historical season and what we're trying to accomplish and what we're fighting through. And so obviously voting is a huge action item, and we've seen the power of NBA teams and stepping up and using their arenas and their platform for polling places to get rid of voter suppression. And so I think that's just the biggest thing now that I hope everybody leaves with this, is that we do have a responsibility individually to vote.
Howard Megdal, next Hoops.
Hey, Candace, great to chat with you. I'm wondering, you spoke about being able to take a little bit more of a bigger picture view for the team. I just wonder if you've been able to also think about this in terms of the following, which is for you to be healthy and playing as well as you ever have at a moment that the playoffs are here. You've been around long enough to know that that doesn't always line up the way it is lining up this year, and those opportunities are sometimes fleeting. Do you think about it in those terms? Have you thought about the chance you have in front of you to add another championship to a legacy that already has so much?
I think it wakes me up at night. The amount of times that, I wake up and think about an opportunity that we have, and how many times I've been in the same situation and we've had an opportunity and we don't capitalize on it. So just from experience, I'm going to do everything in my possible power to put our team in the best position, and then I'm going to live with the results. And I think you get into the point where it's one possession, it's one game, it's one moment at a time, because anything can shift. I always give this example. It's funny, like our perception of the Toronto Raptors shifted because Kawhi Leonard's shot bounced in 4 times and went in the hoop. And now everybody's like, wow, Toronto's so like perception can change so much based on one play. So you got to be ready to make that one play for sure.
Logan Murdoch, the Ringer.
Hi, Candace. Taya was talking about how much of a mentor that you've been during her first year in the league. I wanted to know, how was it for you to be that mentor to people when, not so long ago you were that person that was, getting advice from Lisa Leslie and getting advice from all these women. What is it like to be on the other side of that now?
Logan, I'm a correct you. It was a long time ago that I was getting advice from Lisa Leslie. I was year 13, but no, it's really cool to see, young kids come into the league, and I value my vets. I still talk to them to this day, and I really appreciate everything they did for me as an individual. And I understood it's not necessarily just on the court, it's handling yourself like a pro. It's handling yourself off the court just as important. And so it's just reminding them that, your body feels great now, but you got to do the stuff to make sure that it continues to feel good. So I'm sure Taya, I'm sure Christine, they can probably hear me in their sleep talk about stretching, getting to the weight room, eating right, drinking water. So those are the things that I think it's important for everybody to kind of pay it forward and, to give the younger generation something that your vets gave you.
Time for 2 more here. We'll go to Erica Ayala with Lockdown Women's Basketball.
Thank you. Candace, I wanted to ask you about some news that is being reported by CNN and also by the New York Times regarding a $12 million settlement to the family of Breonna Taylor. As of right now, the New York Times reporting that does not include arresting the officers that shot and killed Breonna in her home. Just your reactions to that, given that the season has been dedicated to her and so many others.
This season has been dedicated to arrest the cops that are responsible for the murder of Breonna Taylor. I think it's interesting that this is a step, but this isn't what our goal was. And obviously we wear Breonna Taylor's name on the back of our jersey, but she represents so many other women that have been killed because of police brutality. And so I think, as a mother, there's no amount of money that could take that away. So I don't think that does anything.
Thank you. Our last question will be John W. Davis with Wimsider.
Thank you, Candace. I appreciate your answer to Erica's question. If I could ask you this, how are you balancing being selfless on the court, yet aggressive on the court when it comes to basketball heading into these playoffs?
I think it just comes with the feel for the game, honestly. I think we've done a good job of getting to this point in preparation of sharing the ball, and I'm going to continue to make the correct play. And sometimes what I feel is correct is not going to be right, but I think you got to trust. And that's the biggest thing is that I hope I've earned the trust of my teammates that they know I'm going to make the right play. And especially in the playoffs, this is where, your best player's got to rise to the occasion, and everybody's got to do what they do best. And so that's kind of just my thing. I do feel as though there are games where I come out and I know I have to be aggressive and active, and that's how it is every game in the playoffs.
Thank you so much, Candace.
Thank you.